So big news from PlayStation. PlayStation users will finally be able to change the PlayStation Network online IDs soon enough. They don't say exactly when, I don't think. It just says, we're happy to announce that we will soon begin testing the long-awaited feature that will allow users to change their PlayStation Network online ID from their PlayStation 4 system. But it's going to be a beta feature, part of the PlayStation Preview program, and then later on you'll be able to, or it'll be available to everybody. It says the first change is free. Changes after that will be $10 US dollars, and well, US dollars and Canadian dollars, so good news for Canada. But PlayStation Plus members will only be charged $5 after the first change. Again, first change is free. So this is pretty good. It says, there still might be some issues here and there in some games, and then with the older PS3 and PS Vita and stuff. I think this is really freaking good. It is pretty late, because Xbox has been able to do this since the beginning with their gamer tags, and then PlayStation had their gamer tags, and then Xbox was charging their people for the longest time, and they had awesome online support. PlayStation always was down for maintenance, and then they're like, okay, we'll start charging you, and there's mandatory charge for PS4, and then their shit was still going down, and then finally, 10 years later, they're like, okay, now you can change your PlayStation ID. PlayStation has just been way behind on so much other tech, but then they're just still taking so much of people's money. And this, this isn't just for people who want to rebrand and stuff, because when I was a little bit younger, I was still older, I was in my 20s, I was thinking of switching from my hardcore Hector gamer tag to something else, but you couldn't change your PlayStation Network ID, so I had to create an entirely new ID, which means I pretty much abandoned all the older trophies. But then after a while I was like, nah man, I'm going by Hardcore Hector everywhere, and I've been running this name for so many years, so I just stuck with Hardcore Hector and went back to that original profile. So yeah, it's good for people with rebranding, but it's also really good for people people who created their IDs as kids and then now they're adults 10 years later. And somebody even said that in the top comment. He says, great, I have a really old account I became ashamed of using while playing multiplayer games because of the immaturity of the ID itself. I made it 10 years ago when I was very immature, 12 years old. Hopefully this new feature means that we can permanently change them too, as I do not want to be known as by my old account. So 10 years ago he was 12, now he's 22, and I'm sure he has this immature name, maybe Elite Sniper Scope 69420, and you see a bunch of bullshit like that. Or even when I made my very first username online, I went by Stunner87 because I liked Stone Cold Steve Austin, a wrestler who was famous back then, and that was the finishing move, the Stunner. And I was born in 1987, so Stunner87. Of course, I wouldn't want that name now. And, thankfully I didn't have that as any online gaming ID. But that's pretty much it for this video. You guys can leave a comment with your thoughts on this whole matter. PlayStation Network ID changes. Are you going to change your PlayStation Network ID? Are you happy this feature is finally coming? I'm not going to be changing my PlayStation Network ID because, like I said, I'm HXC Hector everywhere. And HXC is shorthand for hardcore. So pronounce it Hardcore Hector, please. Don't call me HXC Hector. But that's pretty much it, man. Just subscribe, like the video, whatevs. See you guys later.